When you think of cryptids, the first thing you think about is probably Bigfoot or Mothman or Nessie, and I'm pretty sure I started like 5 videos like this. But cryptids are so much more than that. According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of a cryptid is an animal that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. And a cryptid can lose its cryptid status by being discovered and recognized by science. At that point, it's no longer a monster, but an animal. My channel has covered many implausible and some plausible cryptids, but today we're going to change things up a bit and look at 5 cryptids that turned out to be real animals. I'm going to try not to cover some super obvious ones like krakens or platypuses, that's the proper term, because I feel, there's a lot of those animals have been covered already, but a lot of animals are just weird as hell. And imagine telling like a medieval peasant who's never really went anywhere 10 miles from his home that they got jacked unicorns and spotted long-neck horses in Africa that eat at the top of trees. They wouldn't believe you. But anyway, those are probably for other videos in the future, more content here. But without a further ado, let's get into our top 5 list. And to start off our video, we go to Sri Lanka to cover the Ulama, or the devil bird. The people of Sri Lanka's countryside have been terrified by ominous shrieks in the dead of night coming from a mythical bird. According to the folklore, a disgruntled husband, furious with his wife, would serve her his own child to the woman in the form of a curry, with her making the discovery by finding one of his fingers in the food. The woman would run off into the woods, screaming and holding her head in terror, where the gods would transform her soul into the form of a horned bird, the Ulama. That's a nice little peachy start to our list, if I do say so myself. The cries of the Ulama are said to sound like the shrieks of a woman, and are an omen of tragedy, with death occurring shortly after. The cries would terrify the locals, with many wondering what the source of the shrieks could be. Studies were carried out, and in 2001, the culprit of the shrieks was found to be the spot-bellied eagle owl, the largest owl species in Sri Lanka. And I'd say these owls look pretty devilish with their horn-like feathers and imposing appearance, and their shrieking cry definitely does sell it as well. Locals and ornithologists, I think I said that right, birdiologists alike, agree that the spot-bellied eagle owl is the match of the Ulama, although there is some debate that the true Ulama is actually the changeable hawk eagle or the oriental honey buzzard, with some locals who claim to have heard the devil bird bringing these birds up as closer matches than the eagle owl. The detail of the woman's hands on her head during the story, when she was running out in the woods and she was holding her head, is also said to have been mistranslated as her having both hands on her head, with of some sources claiming that she only clutched her head with one hand, implying that the bird was crested, not horned. Despite this, the spot-bellied eagle owl still remains the closest match to the Ulama that has terrified generations. In Scottish folklore, there is a cat-like creature known as the Cat-Sith, and these cats weren't lightsaber-wielding warriors of the dark side. They were large, dark-furred cats with a white spot on their chests. The Cat-Sith are common in Scottish folklore, with many stories of these cats serving key and sometimes comical roles of bridging the physical and spiritual world. Like, for example, there's like a certain holiday or ritual over there where you're supposed to leave out a tray of milk for the Cat-Sith, and if you don't, they will drain your cow's udders dry. Anyways, I just thought that was cool to share. But although these cats were thought to be merely legend, encounters with large cats near Kellas throughout the years, with eventual specimens being captured in a snare in 1984, would lead to the Kellas cats being discovered. These cats would fit the description of the Cat-Sith perfectly, minus the mythical powers, as far as we know. being roughly dog-sized black cats with white spots on their chest that roam the Scottish Highlands near the village of Kellas. Specimens would be tested, finding them to be hybrids between domestic cats and Scottish wildcats. And unfortunately for cat lovers out there, these cats are deemed untamable after live Kellas cats were captured, and these cats will breed with domestic cats, along with Scottish Highland cats, probably doing the same thing, leaving the owner with a litter of super kittens that will wreck your home once they reach maturity. You might think, oh, it's just a black cat, I can keep them, but they're way larger than they look, and they're way stronger too, meaning they're probably literally going to run up your walls and destroy your house. Due to Kellas cats being descendants of Scottish wildcats that are only found in Scotland, making them pretty rare by default, they also have a disliking towards humans, causing these cats to take a mythical status, with them thought to be considered supernatural creatures until 40 years ago. In 1930, German paleontologist Lorenz Mueller would examine the fossils of the first known Chacoan peccary, with scientists of the time believing the peccary to have went extinct 10,000 years ago. And those who may be uncultured swine to swine culture, a peccary is not a pig, but is a close relative, with peccary species being found in South, Central, and parts of North America. It is very important to make this distinction to prove my journalistic integrity. Despite the species being declared extinct by scientists of this time, the Toba and Mennonite tribes indigenous to the Gran Chaco region spoke of a pig-like animal that lives in the region spanning parts of Argentina, Bolivia, and Paraguay that they would call the Tagua. Despite the locals going into extensive detail about the behaviors and habits of the Tagua, and with them even hunting it, the reports of the tribes would be dismissed by scientists of the time, which is extremely ignorant and super stupid of them. Like, it's not like they're claiming that this thing's like a dragon. They're just like, oh, hey, there's a pig here. No, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, dude, come on. I'd like to think that these were the German scientists in the 1930s, but in reality, it was probably everyone. Everyone was just extremely ignorant. It would take until 1971 that these peccaries would be recognized as extant, when biologists studying Paraguayan Chaco region would find squadrons of Chacoan peccaries, just as the tribesmen years prior told of, and they were unchanged from how they looked 10,000 years ago. With this case being a pretty big example as to why you should listen to people who lived in the area for hundreds and thousands of years before you go and just write them off. The Chacoan peccary is the largest of the 3 known extant peccary species, living in warm, dry climates, feasting on cacti and thorny shrubs in Gran Chaco. These peccaries, like other peccary and pig species, are highly intelligent social creatures, living in squadrons, that's the correct term for multiple peccaries, of up to 20 individuals. Despite its living fossil status, the Chacoan peccary is at risk of extinction, with habitat loss, overhunting, and an unknown disease dwindling down Chacoan peccary's numbers to about 3,000 to 5,000 individuals left, making them an endangered species. Thankfully, there are wildlife reserves and breeding programs to help keep the Chacoan peccary around for future generations to call a pig and to be corrected by peccary enthusiasts. The sailors of old have all told tales of sea monsters that called the oceans their home, just as fierce as the sea itself. And one of these sea monsters was Ziphius, or the water owl. Ziphius was said to have had the body of a fish and the head of an owl, along with a blade-like fin that the creature gets its name from, with Latin translating it to sword-like. Ziphius is said to have lived in the northern seas off the coast of Scandinavia, and would slice into the hulls of ships with its sharp fin and devour the crew, staring at them with its large, soulless eyes and devouring them with its beaked mouth. Fast forward to 1804, a skull located off the coast of France would be discovered and later described by French zoologist Georges Curvier in his book research on fossil bones. The skull was beak-shaped, causing Curvier to name it the genus Ziphius after the legend of old, believing the skull to belong to an extinct species. In 1850, zoologist Paul Gervais would find a match for the skull from a beached whale carcass. The whale would go on to be called Curvier's beaked whale after Georges, and would also be the match for the legendary Ziphius. As its name may suggest, Curvier's beaked whale is a beaked whale, resembling a jacked dolphin, using its mouth to feast upon prey like squids. Or, in other words, Ziphius had clashes with krakens. These whales also hold records for the deepest documented dive for a mammal at 9,816 feet below the surface, and the longest recorded dive for a mammal at 222 minutes. These whales were the inspiration for Ziphius, along with potential influence from some orca sightings being meshed into the sea monster that sailors told stories of. But unlike the fierce beasts of legend, the Ziphius of our seas is more at risk of us, with historical overfishing and sonar technology killing thousands of Curvier beaked whales over the years. But due to successful conservation efforts and their literal worldwide range, these things can be found everywhere. These whales are some of the most frequently spotted beaked whales, meaning these whales weren't really trying to devour crews. They probably were just curious. And for our final entry of the video, we must go deep within the wilderness of Cambodia, where there was said to have been a bizarre bovid cryptid, an antelope with the ability to breathe underwater thanks to a set of gills on its muzzle. This creature is as bizarre of a deer cryptid as you can get. However, in 1992, one of the most elusive mammals of our time would be discovered. The Saola, also known as the Asian unicorn, is an extremely rare antelope native to the Annamite Range in Vietnam and Laos. The Saola has a very distinct appearance, so distinct that it's placed in its own genus under bovini, being more closely related to buffaloes and domesticated cows. Their unique spindling horns, brown and black hide, and large sinuses are so pronounced that the locals mistook them for gills. These animals were already rare, seemingly being exclusive to small areas around the Annamite Range, but a combination of hunting and habitat fragmentation has led to the Saola's population nosediving. As of now, Saola are critically endangered, with no more than 750 left in the wild, and our track record with these antelopes in captivity is awful, as we haven't been able to keep one alive in captivity for more than a few months. The most recent Saola photo was taken all the way back in 2013 by a trail cam, making them the rarest and most vulnerable large mammals of our time. However, maybe they can... Oh wait, what if they actually do have gills and they're hiding under a lake or something? Nah, that's obviously not true, but it would be cool. And that's gonna do it for the first list video. The first top 5 style video we've done, baby. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and this is supposed to be the 2.5K special, and still is the 2.5K special, but you mad lads got us to 3K before I could even finish this. Guys, thank you all so much. I definitely do not take your viewership for granted, okay? The reason that this is the special is that, and the reason that this video is actually pretty special to me, is because I used to watch a bunch of like top 10, top 15 list videos, and I always thought I could do that. I could do this. And ultimately, if I really wanted to, I could like churn these out, just like copy articles and stuff like that. But getting into YouTube and starting with iceberg videos, I kind of realized, wait, I could do that. That's not hard at all. I definitely could do that. So moral of the story, if you think you can do a video, put it out there. But thank you all for watching. It means the most. If you have any recommendations for any cryptids that you'd like me to cover, let me know. If you liked this video, and if you liked this topic and would like to see another top 5 cryptids that turned out to be real, let me know too. There's a lot of interesting stuff, like gorillas at one point were cryptids, for that same ignorant reason that the peccaries were cryptids. Oh yeah, and also this iceberg, those peccaries are very important. I'm gonna point at those peccaries a lot because we didn't know about those until the 70s, and we just didn't listen to anybody. And if like ground sloths, right? Those are big mammals, and these are the largest peccaries, right? So there very well could be ground sloths living out there. Okay, we thought they went extinct like 10,000 years ago, right? See where I'm going at here? We're cooking. And also the Cat-Sith, right? Because a lot of people like to discredit mythical creatures as cryptids, but, well, those are mythical creatures, and they're real. And you're real, too. So I'd like to say thanks for watching. As always, leave a comment down below if you liked it. If you liked it, it means the world. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.